So my name is Liz Bohannon. I went to the University of Missouri and I studied journalism. Long story short, or maybe long story a little bit long, I was really passionate about the issues that were facing women and girls living in extreme poverty and in conflict and post-conflict zones. I graduated from college, I kind of had this passion, I got a job at a corporate communications firm, and I really had this moment that changed everything. I was sitting at my desk when I had the realization that I said I cared about this issue, about this thing that was facing millions of women and girls across the globe. But I didn't have a single friend who was a woman or a girl who grew up in this kind of experience. I realized that there was this delta between what I said I cared about and what I actually was building my life around. And so in that moment, I quit my job, by the way, in the height of a recession. So back in 2008, the last time our economy was in the tanker, and I bought a one-way plane ticket to Uganda. And I showed up in Uganda just to listen and to learn and to make friends and to get curious. And one thing led to another, and I met an incredible group of young women in between high school and university. These young women are some of the top students in the entire country, top 5% of students in the country. They're testing into college, but they can't afford to go. Well, these young women became my people, my friends. We were around the same age, kind of in a similar life stage. And all of a sudden, this big problem of global gender extreme inequality became pretty small. Here's 25 young women who can test into college, who can get a college education and go on to be an incredible leader in their community, but they can't afford to do so. And so I decided to start a charity and went down that road for a little while, and then this could be an entirely different talk, but realized that if I was gonna do this and I was gonna pour my life into this, that I wanted to do something that was sustainable, that was scalable, and most importantly, that was mutually beneficial from a relationship standpoint. So I was like, you know what? We gotta start a business. So then I started a chicken farm, and that went about as well as you can expect it would from somebody who literally had to Google what do chickens eat. And it turns out I'm not into chickens. It's not my cup of tea. They're kind of gross. They're kind of scary. They're beady little eyes. So, okay, that failed. And then I designed a pair of these strappy, funky sandals that I had made actually when I was back in college. And it was one of my friends from back home who was like, what about those sandals that you made when we were in college? Literally out of flip-flop bottoms and ribbon, because I wanted a pair of flip-flops that didn't flop. So very sophisticated. And I was like, you know what? All of my ideas so far have kind of stung. Like, yeah, sure. Why not sandals? One thing led to another thing. I spent the next several months traveling the region, trying to identify raw material suppliers, prototyping out these sandals. And I went to the school and I hired 3 young women, Mary, Mercy, and Rebecca. And I promised these 3 young women that if they made sandals for that 9-month gap in between high school and university, that they would go to college in the fall. And they were like, okay. And I was like, okay. And then I came back home to the US and I started selling sandals out of the back of my car, which is definitely, of course, what your parents want you doing with your master's degree in journalism. About 10 years later, we are now a global, socially conscious fashion brand. We have enabled hundreds of female scholars in East Africa to go onto university and to do incredible things in their community, in our world.